My name is Elsa Silvia Torres, and I'm going to show you how to make flour tortillas. The first thing you must know is that these kind of cups of measuring is what you measure the dry ingredients. This kind of cup, you measure the liquids. There's no substitute with these two. Remember, powder, dry ingredients, liquid ingredients measurement. Okay, we also have here the measuring spoons, and we also have a mixed spatula, and we have a spreader just so that we can use when we are measuring the shortening. Okay, well, our recipe consists of 3 cups of flour tortillas. So we're going to put 3 cups. There's 1, 1. Always make sure you level it up. So there's 1, and here's 2, and now we're going to put our last cup of flour, and we're going to even it out. Okay, so we're done with the flour, and now we're going to add the other dry ingredients. We're going to go with baking powder. Baking powder, we're going to add 2 teaspoons, and so our teaspoon is the bigger spoon that you see here, the bigger spoon. So when you measure the teaspoon, you're going to go measure flat, 1, and here's the second, 2. Okay, and there's your baking powder. Now you're going to add 1 teaspoon of salt. So you take the same one and you measure. Make sure that it's flat and you add. Okay, so now you're done with your dry ingredients, and so you can mix them up. Make sure you mix them up before you add the shortening, and you can see. Okay, you mix up all the dry ingredients. Okay, now we're going to add the shortening, and the shortening consists of 4 tablespoons. So here's the tablespoons, and we're going to add 4 of these tablespoons, moving it up over here closer to your bowl of mixture. And we're going to add we're almost kind of filling it up. Pack it down. So okay, so there's 1. It's kind of hard to measure the shortening, but you can do it. It's better to have the exact amount of shortening that you need for your flour tortillas. So here's the other. This is number 2. Okay. Here's 3. If you put too much shortening, your tortillas are gonna come out very hard. So you want to make sure that you do add the right amount of shortening. You do not want to add more than what you don't need. Okay? And it's a little hard, but we can do it. Okay, here we go. This little guy is very handy in getting everything in your measuring. Okay, so we're done with this. And now we put this away, and now we're ready for our hot water. Normally what I do is I just take it from the water tap, let it run as hot as it can. Okay, so I try to touch it. My water here at home usually comes out very, very hot. But you want it medium hot or as hot as you can stand it in your hands. I'm used to standing with my hands very hot water. But what we want to do is as hot as it can so the shortening can melt. So now here you can see that this liquid has the measuring right away. So we need a cup and 1/4. We do not need a cup and 1/3. So we're going to put our water measurement just in between here, just to be on the safe side. Okay. So, and you can see that the water is hot. And there it is, about a cup and 1/4. Just about a 1/4 of water. Now we go into our bowl. And before we add the hot water, we are going to mix the mixture of the dry ingredients with the shortening, and you will see that it's this way, like little balls or whatnot. But we need to cut into it. This spatula is not doing the job for me, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my hands. It's a custom that usually when we mix this tortillas dough, we do use our hands. So I'm going to mix. Can you see? Can you see in here? Okay. We're mixing it real good. Now, you will know when your mixture of shortening is already ready to add the water, okay? Because sometimes, well, usually when you see it get together like this and you squeeze it and it stays together like that, that means that it's ready for the water to be added. Okay, so what I do is I kind of make a little I separate the dough, leaving somewhat in the bottom, as you can see, just somewhat, and then I start pouring my hot water little by little, and then start mixing it in one more time. Okay. And you start mixing it, and it's going to be sticky at some points, and it's going to be, you're not going to be able to get all the dry ingredients together, but then you start adding, and I like to use both of my hands and squeeze them out, okay? And sometimes there is some dry, so what I'd like to do on the dry ingredients, and it's kind of hard to get it out of your hands, but that's all right, your hands are clean. So what I do is I usually put it on the side, add a little bit more water, okay? Do not add the whole amount of water at one time. There is a possibility that your dough is going to get a bit sticky. So you need to make sure that you are blending in the mixture, and you will see that some of the dough starts to form like here. Okay, and these are the dry ingredients that I'm talking about that you will need to add more little water. So you will add a little bit more and more because you want it very moist, so that when you start spreading it, it'll be manageable to spread. So here we go. And now it's sticking, and okay, very sticky. Too much water was in there, but that's all right, because what we're going to do now is, when your dough is a little bit too sticky like this, then we need to add a little bit of flour just so it can become smooth. So what we're going to do is, we're going to sprinkle a little bit of flour. Going to sprinkle a little bit of flour. Here we go. And mix it in. I like to scrape the whole bowl with the dough and get all the flour that I can into it. And so now this is ready. Okay, so before I put it on the board, what I'm going to do, I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of flour here, and I'm going to massage it a little bit more, just so I can make sure that everything is blended in and ready to make the little flat circles. Okay, so here we go. We are going to let our dough in the bowl covered for about 5 minutes. We do not need to let it cover more than that. And we're just going to let it stand while everything is just being blended. Okay? So we'll leave it here covered with wax paper for about 5 minutes. And that's what we're going to do now. Hi, now we are ready to do our little flat circles. Our dough has been already standing for 5 minutes. You take the wax paper out and we put it on the side. And we also take another piece of wax paper, and this is where we're going to lay our flat circles. So then we take it out of our bowl, because we're done with that. We put it in the sink. And now, people like to divide the dough. I don't like to divide it. I just like to grab it and start measuring. One of the tricks that my grandparents showed me, or my grandma, was that when you get the dough, if you go like this, there's your first little circle. And it shouldn't take that long. So then you start pushing it in, and with your palms, you start turning it around, rotating it around, and flapping it in, turning it in, and there's your first flat circle. And it will look like that, but that's okay. So that will be your first. If you want to try one more time, so then we can go again, and whatever, you squeeze it, so whatever comes out, that's the amount of dough that you will. And usually when this happens, your tortillas will be just about the same size. Okay, so that's how you do it. One more time so that you can get the idea. Squeeze out, and if it comes out to be too much or a little bit more, you take it off, put it back to the other dough. And here we go again. We go in, okay, and with your palms, it's forming the roundness of the little flat circle. There you go. And this dough feels very good, the texture of the dough. Okay. Well, now we have all of our little flat circles in line on wax paper, so it doesn't get sticky or your counter doesn't get greasy, because the shortening will go on there. So there's two kinds of pins that people can use, or whichever they prefer. There's the regular pie pin, and this is my homemade pin. I like this homemade pin because it rolls to my profession. or my expectation rather. So you take your flat tortilla, your flat circle, you put it there, and then you put your pin in the middle, and then you press down and roll up, and then roll down. Turn it around, up, down. You may want to turn it over again, up, down, and you can start seeing the tortilla spreading out into a circle, a bigger circle. So, and it's right here in your knuckles where you're going to press down. See? Press down, press. I meant to say press up, press down. Turn it around one more time. Okay. Sometimes if you see your tortilla that it's round over here and over here it's not, so then you take your pin, put it in the middle, hold it with your right hand or left, and then give it a little swirl or circle, and there's your tortilla. Okay, so we're going to put our first tortilla on the grill. My grill has been already preheated, so it's very warm and hot, ready to cook the tortilla. So we're going to lay it down. Okay, and it has a pretty good temperature because right now there's no bubbles but building up right away, so it's starting to cook. You can smell the tortilla being baked or cooked already. So you take your spatula. Be sure you use a spatula if it's your first time that you're making these tortillas. I, on the other hand, use my hands because I have experience in turning the tortillas or whatnot. But since it's your first time, you use your spatula. You pick it up on the side. You turn it around, and it burnt a little bit, but that's okay because it's your first one. Sometimes your first one will be looking like this, but that's okay. All right? And you can press down with your spatula, and it doesn't take long. Then we turn it around one more time, and see, that's the way your tortilla should look. And you can tell that it's cooked because if there's some bright areas around there, that means your tortilla is not cooked. So this one just took about a minute or two, no more than that, or maybe a minute and a half. And I like to flip-flap a lot. So that one's ready to go. Now we're going back to spread the second one. Okay, so again, I have a bowl of flour here in case your dough is still sticky. So what you do, you sprinkle it on the board. Whoops, here we go. This one's not sticky, but I just want to show you how you can sprinkle it on your board. Put the tortilla, the flat circle, in the middle, roll up, roll down, turn it around, roll up, roll down. You can turn it the other side. Again, up, down. Okay. And you can see that your tortilla is starting to look brown, and you're spreading it. Do not spread your tortilla like a pizza dough because that's not the traditional way to go and go like this and go like that. No, no, no. There's a certain way of spreading out your tortilla. So this one's ready, and we're ready to put it in the grill again. Okay. This one kind of lay down the wrong way, but that's okay. And so we're going to wait until it bubbles. And now this one I'm going to turn with my hands because this is the experience I have. But remember to use the spatula. There's always an option to use your spatula. Okay? So I think my tortilla is ready. Here we go. See? And I push down with my hands. Sometimes you can see your fingerprints on the tortilla when you lay it down the first time. Okay, and right here in the middle you can see a little bit of shiny stuff that it's not cooked completely, but there it is. This side has been cooked. Okay, there you go. And we put it in your basket Cover it up until you're ready to put the next one in there. Well, now that we're done, I ended up having 18 tortillas, just about, as you can see, just about all the same size, and one little tortilla because that's what was left over from the dough. And so what you do now is you wrap them up with the 2 dish towels, and you make sure that you wrapped it real good so they'll stay warm. And that's 1 dish towel. Here's another one. And you want to keep it as warm as possible until you're ready to serve. The end and enjoy. Thank you.